You're watching Rootstv Nigeria. In this conversation, we are talking about police arrests based on stereotypes. Examples: dreadlocks, tattoos, a way a person is dressed, having flashy cars, flashy phones and stuff like that. This has dominated conversations on all platforms, from social media to basic media. Is this right? Should the police arrest people based on how they look, or what they wear, or how they carry themselves? To join this conversation with us right here, I'm starting with my extreme left, Barrister Inegedu Eddie. Welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. And we also have Ayo Akonji. He is a security expert who has worked extensively with the Nigerian police. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I'm going to start with you, Eddie. Does the police have the right to arrest people based on how they look, their hair, or any perceived stereotype? Do they have that power based on the Police Act?
Straight to the question you asked, I do not think there's a law that specifically provides that you could arrest people based on how they look. But having said that, before you comes in, I still think we need to look at these things happen because of the state of some of our laws, which provides leeways through which the police could capitalize on to act. Now, the Police Act itself in Section 4 only states that the police have the duty to arrest, prosecute, prevent crime in those aspects. But if you go to Section 35 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, the Constitution expressly provides that the police could arrest on reasonable suspicion.
Exactly.
Of that the person has committed an offense, or in a bid to prevent him from committing an offense. Now, we have debated this thing severally, but the position of the law remains that what is reasonable suspicion, it depends on what the policeman thinks at that point in time. Oh, is this man going to commit an offense? Oh, let me arrest him, let me stop him on the way. Now, it has been expanded in practice beyond what is in the law. Nobody looks at how reasonable it is or not. But the point at every point in time is that he could sit down, we could just be sitting down and the policeman walks in and he thinks that, well, the way Ayo is wearing his cap looks as if he's likely going to commit an offense, or the way I'm posturing, I could likely commit an offense.
So the truth is that it has been left on personal discretion, not even the police discretion, but to every policeman's discretion. And the abuse of this discretion is where the problem lies, and not necessarily the law itself.
Yes.
Ayo, I mean, you have worked extensively with police. I mean, at the moment, you are working on police image. Get us into the mind of some of these officers. Of course, we have heard police authorities come out and say, oh no, this is in bad light, especially where situations where these arrests are either caught on tape or there is massive outrage. But to the average policeman, what does he think about the man who's got dreadlocks and a tattoo?
I mean, like you just said, I think the fact is that sometimes some of these people unfortunately, who you see with this stereotyping, or this stereotype rather, actually fall victims of this crisis. Like there was an issue of the photojournalist Tunde Badmus was arrested.
Yinka Badmus, yes.
Yeah, he was Yinka rather. He wasn't arrested because he had dreadlock. He was arrested because he had affinity with one of the cult organizations. I think it was the AA or so. So there's a lot of cocktails of things that are going on within the policemen and even Nigerians and the law. But starting by law, like Barrister started clearly here, is the fact that the Police Act and regulation that has been operational is what we had since 1957. Yeah. So you can see how outdated it is. And that's why we're trying to see that National Assembly can play a role in trying to see how they can actually pass bills for reform. Because this has to be by law. And if you have more reform, you need more funding for the police, you need more training, psychological training, and all kinds of things. And also, it's not really a stereotype, but I think the penal code and the criminal code has defined where you can actually arrest someone who's found to be breaching or causing nuisance to the society. And also, the police officers, they have the intelligence. Probably they are monitoring you, they are monitoring some few targets they have.
I see.
Before they act upon that. So if they come and make an arrest, probably they've built up their evidence from their surveillance they have on this target.
So let's talk about the situation of Kolade Johnson. Kolade was killed based on by a stray bullet. That's according to the information we have, a stray bullet that that was fired by a police officer during an arrest of a person who reportedly was on dreadlocks. Now this has caused a massive outrage. Okay, so this particular person, let's just assume that this person has the propensity or may have committed a crime. However, the person who got killed had no affiliation whatsoever with the suspect or had any connection with the crime that could have been committed. Now, in situations where people are hurt by this judgment by the police officer, how then does the police rationalize this?
I mean, like, for example, the man who pulled the trigger and carried the Kolade Johnson's case was, he had an oddly trial.
After outrage.
Well, that was
outrage.
But that was going to happen afterwards, even before the outrage, because just like what happened right now over the weekend, with some few killings in Lagos.
Yes.
There was a fight between some two cultists, and they shot a lady at Ajabule. They've already said them already, though. So, but that's the procedure. If you're found to be seen to violate the rules of regulations, you have to have an early trial. From the trial, he was dismissed and it's taken to court.
Does that happen in all situations where this happens? Most situations. Do you agree? You look different.
Because I've seen things like that. Is the fact of accidental discharge. I have never agreed before, and I'm not going to agree now, and I'm also not going to agree tomorrow that a stray bullet killed somebody or it was accidental discharge. I'm looking at it from the perspective of the law for me, because your gun has latches, they have locks. So if that lock is not on and the bullet discharges, it's negligence. And it results in the death of somebody, you should go for it.
I see. Okay, let's talk about situation where the Lagos State Police Command has come out to say that they have a connection, they see a connection between tattoos, dreadlocks, and cultism. And then they believe that tattoos and dreadlocks are not in our culture. Do you believe, Ayo, that a person who's carrying dreadlocks, who's got tattoos, could be or has a propensity to be affiliated to cultism or cultists?
I don't believe in that, to be honest. I mean, our great-grandparents had tattoos. So would you call them cultists at that time? I just think, like I was saying earlier, I just think it's the fact that probably a lot of culprits that they've arrested in Lagos State had all this, had a tattoo, had the dreadlocks. You just feel by default, if they see you wearing a tattoo, having a dreadlock, you just want to think that this is what you do, but that's wrong. And there's no legal, there's no part in our constitution, the criminal penal code that's giving them authority to do that.
Interesting. Now, even look at that, because they have continued to say, this is what we do. Now, I understand the fact that let's give it to police officers. A lot of them have actually suffered serious casualties. I mean, police commands across the country have suffered casualties and loss of officers due to high crime rate. And of course, this could have made them very apprehensive, and they want to be proactive other than just, taking action after it has happened. So to some extent, it may get them, on the edge. Yeah. Yes. But when you are talking about situations like this, where all of a sudden there is this stereotype, what is the effect of this on law enforcement in general? And then for an average Nigerian who probably, let's say people who came back from outside of the country who come in with dreadlocks and tattoos, and let's say they're lawyers just like you and probably not covered up, what is the effect of that?
You see, let me start by saying that statement, even coming from a police command, to my own mind, it's very lazy.
Lazy?
Yes. That's just how I'm going to sum it up. Because if it's a policeman who has said that.
Let me make it very clear. Yeah. This came from the Lagos PPRO. His name is Bala Elkanah. And yes. He said that.
Yes.
That dreadlocks and tattoos are connected. Somehow they've seen the relationship between that and cultism, and it is not in our culture.
No, you see, if it is coming from him as a person, as an individual, not an official position, I would say that's his opinion. But if it is coming up as an official position, then it is lazy. Now, why did I say it is lazy? Instead of investigating or finding a way of, okay, how do we connect singular persons with these atrocities? What you have done now is just to generalize everybody so that whoever falls into that dragnet, into that profiling, all you just need to say is that, oh, he is one of them. That is why I say it is lazy, because it gives them a cover not to investigate or conduct proper
Exactly,
examination
because the question
of persons.
has actually been, shouldn't arrests be made based on investigations?
Yes.
And even if there is probable cause, let's assume that there is a suspicion. The method of arrest in Nigeria can be scary. We see these videos where they're literally beating someone up who hasn't resisted an arrest in any form. And we also see a lot of people like you who teach Nigerians, just go with them. But the beating.
I have fallen victim on about 2 occasions when I was in university.
Explain to us what happened to you.
Now, the first one, I went to Lagos to see my uncle. And on my way back to the park, because then it was more of, and all of a sudden I was standing somewhere and some policemen just came and forced me into a bus. And my friend...
What were you dressed like? What did you look like?
There was no tattoo, there was nothing. There was no dreadlock, there was nothing. I was just standing there.
Ayo, you're working to rebuild the police image. You're working as a liaison person with them. What are their thoughts beyond just, what is politically correct? What is the police really thinking of doing in terms of rebranding? Because, we've had this argument if they should be police force or police service and all of that. That argument is still out there. But really, you're close to them and you're in the rebranding process. What are they really thinking of doing to rebrand and get away this idea?
They are really committed into it. And then that's why they are playing a lot of advocacy role and trying to see how they can pass these 2 fundamental bills. There's one, the police reform bill, and then police trust fund bill. Because one of the biggest issues the policeman is having is funding. And I was one time, we had a meeting like last week, and they were saying in advanced countries, policemen actually have tasers. So you probably say, you don't have to move with your weapons, you have a taser, they can tease. So that way, it helps you all this unnecessary accidental discharge. But where's the funding? If you get your budget in the per annum, it's something.
No, it's ridiculous. Wow. You can't imagine.
You can't.
That a police division, a divisional office might tell you that what they have for a quarter is like 35,000.
For the quarter?
I have had for a quarter. And how much?
95,000 naira.
35,000
naira per quarter. That's 3 months.
Yes. And when I had that, I just looked at them. I said, look, that cannot even run my office for a month.
And that is the problem, because when people complain, I went to a police station and I made a complaint, and they say, bring money for fuel. A lot of people are wondering, why am I giving you money for fuel? And then the top echelon will say, you're not supposed to pay for bail. You're not supposed to pay for this. Bail is free. And then that division has 95 or 35,000 naira for 3 months.
How much is it per
what
month?
Can that buy? All right, to round up this conversation, what exactly should we be looking at? Because there is a problem.
Yeah, there is a
Whether
problem.
you like it or not, there are still police officers on ground who probably still have this idea that if you've got dreadlocks and tattoos, you have a high propensity to commit a crime. So to the Nigerians out there, what do you now do if you've got dreadlocks or tattoos? Do you go shave? Do you put makeup on? Because up until they get their acts together, this is still a problem. And every day, we're still going to be hearing cases of harassment or even people getting killed by police.
Yes, and for Nigerians, like Ayo said, there's no alternative to good behavior. Yes, there's no alternative to good behavior. Most particularly where we have a force that is grappling with understanding what modern policing is. That is the truth of these issues.
All right, a big thank you to you, Barrister Inegedu, and of course, Ayo Akonji, for taking out time to talk to us. Please, let's have your thoughts on what we have discussed. Stereotyping based on dreadlocks, tattoos, how you are dressed. Is that reason enough for the Nigerian police to arrest you or even suspect that you are capable of committing crime? Go to the comment section of our video to give us your thoughts. My name is Gloria Oje Emodi, and you're watching Rootstv Nigeria.